I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Could AI help you do more of what you love? Workday is the AI platform for HR and finance that actually knows your business. We help you handle the have to-dos so you can focus on the can't wait to-dos. It's a new Workday.
Hello, sorry this episode is late. It's obviously a delicate subject. We're trying to edit down bits and add in bits and try and just keep it to information that has been verified. And obviously new information is still coming out about the case and will come out over the next couple of weeks. I think the next court appointment for the attacker is the 8th of July. So there'll be more information coming out over the summer. But hopefully you find this informative in some way. We talk about this in the episode, but obviously we focus a lot more on the response to the attack rather than the attack. And I guess an easy critique of this episode is that we spend a lot of time focusing on the sort of Telegram networks, the sort of online chats that fed into the riots and fueled the riots and informed the riots, and not as much time focused on Hadid al-Odid. But how we respond to incidences like this and where the information comes from is something that will probably become, unfortunately, more relevant on the island in the years to come. But it's something that probably needs to be talked about more at length and explored. But anyway, here's about 40 minutes of a rambling chat back and forth about different things happening in Belfast over the last week. And yeah, we'll be back with a more regular episode next week. Good luck. Hello. This is, if you've been following the news, it's all only just...
Even if you're not following the news, you'll still be aware of it.
Yes, it's spread massively worldwide. Yeah, we haven't... we'll talk a little bit about it and talk about some of the facts of what happened. But it's obviously not too... It's only just happened a week ago. So there's still things being settled. But yeah, basically, if you haven't seen the video, I'd say probably don't watch it.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, it's very, very graphic. It's a very... last Monday on the 8th of June, there was an extremely violent knife attack in North Belfast. So not too far outside the city centre. Like, Belfast is a small city, so you're kind of in the immediate suburbs. All the comments I've seen online, I've been reading a lot of stuff about it, but you can't even like if you're not calling an attempted beheading, you're a left-wing apologist. It's an extremely violent knife attack. I think, is it a behead? Like, I definitely, you can see, because that has kind of calmed down a little bit, but in the early first...
As a man who over the years has grown up with the internet forming into what the current internet is now, I've seen a lot of beheading videos. This was not a beheading video like the one I would be accustomed to.
No. So it's straight out the gate, you can see it's a black man attacking a white man in Belfast. So if you use the word beheading, then you can angle in. There's a lot of early stuff about it being a terrorist-related attack. It's an extremely violent, knife step. But I don't know how many videos of people being stabbed have you seen?
Oh, I said, like, the image of that guy on top, full mount, straddling him on his chest, just pushing the knife over, and you're like, oh, you can't get that out of your head.
Yeah, so again, I mean, you can find the video if you want, but you're not going to learn anything from watching necessarily. So, yes, so initially, there's 2 or 3 guys who come in and get the attacker off of the victim. One of them uses a hurl.
Yeah.
So that's Mahu McTiernan from West Belfast. Yeah, you can see him in the video coming up and knocking the guy off with a hurl. So they get him off, but the victim on the ground has obviously been severely injured. So his name is Stephen Ogilvie. I think he's in his 40s. I think initially he's from the north. He'd moved, spent some time in Scotland. He's back in the north. I think at the minute he lost his left eye in the attack, and he's got severe wounds and scars from it, as you'd imagine if you see the video. But I think he's alive, but in hospital. Yeah. And the man who attacked him is Hadi al-Odid.
who's supposedly, a 30-year-old man from Sudan who has been living in Belfast since 2023. So I think initially, right after the attack, it went out that he was a Somali man, which then kicked off a whole different section of racist responses. But he's from Sudan. A lot of stuff about how he got to Northern, so straight away there's loads of stuff going over the internet about how he's an illegal African immigrant has come in and attacked this white man. But he is an immigrant. He had gotten an asylum in Northern Ireland in 2023. So he's granted access to leave until 2028. So he is an immigrant, but he was in the country legally.
Yeah.
And he did commit a horrific attack on this man. He was arrested at the scene and has already gone through. Court cases in the north do seem to be a lot quicker. He's already,
for sure, yeah,
especially something like this, I suppose. But he's been brought in front of a court. He was charged with attempted murder and then threatening the NHS staff, which I assume happened after he was brought in. But so he's already landed in custody. No bail granted. He's locked up.
Yeah.
So that's the attack, which is, again, very, very graphic video related to it. Extremely horrible thing to happen to anybody. In response to that, then, stuff started circulating that night over the internet. And on Tuesday, there was a full, I saw things being sent around asking for a shutdown of lots of different areas across Belfast around 7 o'clock for the whole, between 5:30 and 7 o'clock, for everything to be shut down. And then there was a call for able-bodied men to show up dressed in dark colours to go and protest with a message saying, don't do anything illegal, which was very much ignored, I guess.
Also, a weird call to be like able-bodied men for a peaceful protest.
Yeah, it was definitely like, it ended up with a load of young men going through the city and breaking into houses where there's a lot of different terms being thrown around, like foreigners and non-nationals, but essentially anywhere where they thought that a person without white skin was living, they would kick in the door and burn it down.
If they've been living there for decades, if they were born in the country, regardless of religion.
Yeah. They're a mob going through the city burning stuff. Then this goes on to the second day. Wednesday there's riots as well, but there's crazy scenes of they were going down towards places where refugees were being held. The PSNI were kind of keeping them at bay from going down to these areas, but they're burning down houses around Belfast and around the north of the city, which is a very bad response to a horrific crime. So I guess in that way, it echoes the 2023 riots, where a terrible thing has happened. A man has been grievously harmed, and people have used that as an excuse to go burn down large parts of their own city.
Yes.
In the guise of protecting women and children, or protecting Christendom, maybe, depending on what level of... depending on what Telegram chat you're on, basically.
Which, because that does mean then that it's the idea of Catholics and Protestants in Belfast getting together.
Yes.
To fight, for some reason, their common enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just how is it? You lived through the everyone just remember 30 years ago.
No, apparently they don't, because, and not to make, so that's pretty much.
Well, could they try?
They could try. I've seen so much chat about, and this is maybe a flippant point or whatever, but people being like, oh, this is, the city's changed. It's not the city I grew up in. Stuff like this wouldn't happen. It's of course it did. This is not this exact thing, but 100% this is the sort of stuff that was happening. Regardless of what age you are, this is what was happening when you were growing up in Belfast, I would wager.
Yeah. Just given the time, the time periods that you're that anyone who, that's one of the few cities in the Western world where you can't say, Jesus, this place is...
Which, I mean...
It's not like it was when I was growing up.
But you see this so much about Dublin as well, and I have this conversation with people all the time, but the perceived wisdom or whatever is that the far right ideology would never really take hold on Ireland, because a core tenet of it is that you need to have a kind of golden period, whether it's real or not, that you can kind of feed people's dreams of I used to be better before these people were here, before this happened.
The good old days.
The good old days, and we can get back to it. It helps if the good old days are in living memory for some people. You can play on that, and that helps turn people against each other. We don't have that. We never did. And the idea was that without that, it'd be very hard for the right wing to stir up whatever, those sort of feelings here. Turns out it's actually pretty easy because people forget or completely nostalgize their own childhood and for some reason think that the 80s in Ireland were a golden period, despite the fact that everyone emigrated and the fucking place is a mess.
Yeah. Oh, there's probably plenty of lads up in Belfast who are like, this place, at least I was doing something
genuinely,
in the 80s and 90s, or like, at least I had a purpose.
Yeah.
Since then, I've just literally not done anything.
No, I've just been getting older and
more
a lot
angry.
of it is, it was, sure, it was fucking bombs and the news the whole time and you couldn't cross parts of the city, but at least I was 20. But anyway, that's a kind of separate point.
Back when pints were affordable and you couldn't be allowed out to drink them because of a curfew.
Yes, but there's an awful lot of AI-generated images of, a tricolour Irish hand and a Union Jack, English, British hand or whatever, shaking hands across the barrier in this united enemy, which is crazy considering. So a lot of this. So yeah, the night after the initial attack, there's an awful lot of stuff going around on the internet from various far right groups. So Tommy Robinson, I kind of assume people know who Tommy Robinson is.
I'm gonna have to assume that yes.
Yeah, but just
if you don't,
just if you don't, well, like, you know, he's very big in the term far right gets thrown around. I even in comments of this, people were like, "Oh, you can't be fucking everyone's bloody far right if you disagree with your policies." Going door to door and burning down houses because you suspect someone of a different skin color than you lives there, like that is extremist far right behavior, regardless of where you fall in the political spectrum. That's that's the definition of it.
Even if you have an excuse of why you're doing it.
Yeah. That's far right.
Listen to your excuse.
Yeah.
And then that's far right.
Yeah, it's so right. But Tommy Robinson also kind of the definition, you know, his early door, he was involved in setting up EDL, the English Defence League, involved in BNP, the British National Party, involved in other, like, you know, fascist organisations in England in the early 2000s. Again, if you don't, maybe this is for American listeners, you know, he's extremely famous, big online figure, is always involved in these sort of cases, kind of just stirring up hate and vitriol and whatever. His real name is Stephen Christopher Yaxley Lennon, which is a very posh name. Which he
had to change it so that the common man would.
Yeah. So I don't know, that's obviously the joke that goes around about him, and I'm just going to assume that is true. He changed it also to hide. This is the other thing that you come up against when you're trying to like have these sort of debates, that there's no real logic in it. Logic can't be hatred, it seems, because this is like, it's such a parody of a guy who's going around. He himself is his mom's Irish, his dad's English, so, you know, Irish people wouldn't have been particularly welcome in the UK when she moved over there. But he has multiple assaults again. Like he changed his name after he basically got arrested and spent 12 months in prison for assaulting an off-duty police officer after a drunken argument. Yeah. And after that, or sometime around there, he changed his name and he picked the name of a local football hooligan in Luton, Tommy Robinson. So just to sound like a hard man. Because his real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon.
I never heard about the football connection.
He's a fucking loser. Like, to give himself a football hooligan hard man name to make himself sound cooler, but also like himself is the child of an immigrant and has multiple assault charges against him, and is, you know, the sort of danger to society that he was constantly talking about everyone and all these other groups being. But anyway, so he's sharing it online.
A lot of the time, the people who are the ones. Like, because I was only thinking about that of like the Irish lads who like ride in behind McGregor, and you're like, what is he now? Is he the son of he's the son of an immigrant?
Yeah.
And so he came up. What was it he's doing over here? He was lying so he could get welfare.
Yeah.
And then what was he doing? He's going around attacking innocent Irish women.
Yeah.
And then all of his money he's paying taxes abroad. Should he not just be the poster boy of
all the things that you claim to hate?
Immigrant Irish woman beaten.
Yes.
Prick.
Which is and you're kind of jumping around. I'm jumping around a little bit here, but another big irony or whatever of it is that in the same week that this is happening, so I think a couple of days before this, there was a protest. There was a Palestine, pro-Palestine march going through the north. That went through a place called Scarva in County Down, and there was an anti-counter protest set up for that. The counter protest was a bunch of masked men standing around with fucking Israeli flags and just stuff that doesn't. The beautiful combination that really only appears in certain parts of Ulster of Nazi salutes and Israeli flags going side by side. Yeah, but that's all happening, and there's a member of parliament for the DUP party, the Democratic Unionist Party, called Carla Lockhart. So she was there, standing in front of these masked men. Again, it's a fucking harmless Palestine march, just marching across to raise awareness of what's happening in Palestine, and these men are kind of standing out just to intimidate them. And this DUP elected officials standing in front of them and kind of, by association, validating what they're doing. A couple of days later, these riots kick off, and it's all in the name again of protecting women and children and such. The same week, the head of not the old historic head of DUP from back in the day, the guy who just left the head of the DUP party, is on trial for horrific abuse of. I don't know how much you can legally say about this stuff because the case is ongoing or whatever. But just look up Jeffrey Donaldson. That's not a fucking hint, not a wisp of a protest from these people about the man who, and whatever. I guess I have a hard time verbalizing my feelings about it. Obviously, the initial attack is a terrible thing. It's very scary to think that could happen to you or someone you love, just walking around the streets. That's a terrible thing. But there's you don't need to compare the sort of crimes, I suppose, but a man who's in charge of a political party, there should be a big focus on stopping that kind of thing happening.
Yes. Or looking into the history of who allowed it to happen.
Yes.
Has there been complaints in the past?
Yes.
Clearly this would have been brought to the attention of the DUP before.
Yes.
And they've either again, allegedly.
Yeah.
But you would have assumed that this would have come across their desk before.
Yeah.
And somehow it wasn't ever dealt with.
Which is another aspect. Well, actually, exactly what you're saying there, I kind of think about a lot. It was the same in the Dublin 2023 riots, that man had been highlighted to authorities and nothing was done about it. And then this thing happens. And I would say if you look into whenever more details come out about the attacker in this case, I would put good money on that, people have highlighted that he's a danger. Yeah. You don't, again, looking at the video, you don't just snap one day and do that.
No,
there's 100%. Yeah. And he's been living in Belfast for 3 years, in and out, presumably interacting with services. There's a very good chance people have highlighted that this man is going to do something like this, and that nothing was done about it. Now, I don't know that for sure, but there's a very good chance that this is not just a thing that happened randomly. No. But another similar point. So, as part of the riots, there was a list circulated of addresses. So for the mob, they're going to go and burn.
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah,
and that list, or the existence of that list, had been highlighted to PSNI by
the Accountability Project Northern Ireland.
They had highlighted that this list existed to the PSNI multiple times, but also very recently before the riots, to be like, if we can see this list, this is out there, and if anything kicks off. July is the traditional marching season anyway, and the last few summers in Belfast have been tense. Very similar things happened in Ballymena last year. We'll talk about that maybe in a minute, but there's a good chance this is going to happen.
Just to mention that, that Blue Lights,
the PSNI show,
so that'll be coming out now. Was it August, September? And I don't know this for a fact, but I have a heavy suspicion that I think that this season will be dealing with Ballymena.
Okay.
So it'll be coming out just 2 months removed from this.
Okay.
But what they're talking about is could you believe it got this bad?
Yeah.
And then as that season's coming out, will have just been off the back of it happening again.
Yeah.
Next season of Blue Lights will be about this.
Yeah. What's but this was highlighted to the police. So there's a whole network, I guess, of fucking Telegram accounts and Facebook accounts and stuff that was getting primed for this to happen again. Because compared to the Ballymena one, so the Ballymena one last June happened when there was 2 Roma teenagers were accused of rape or sexual assault. I think it was rape, but kicked off riots, very similar to this. Now, that case was June. That case was thrown out in November. I'm not saying that means that they're innocent. It's very hard to find information about it because everyone involved were teenagers.
Yeah.
But reading the whatever reports about it, it says that new evidence came forward and that the charges were dropped. So I don't know what that means, but I have also noticed a trend that any incident that happens in Ireland where teenagers are involved, you'll see stuff popping up in all the far right Facebook groups and stuff that I follow. Stuff will pop up being like, "Oh, it's an African teenager." It's like because they're minor, there's no information given about them, and you can just say whatever you want, and there's no way to check that. Even not. As with all these cases, people do very little checking anyway, you know. But with these ones, the teenager ones, it's impossible to find out what's true or not. So it's very easy just to lie about those things.
It's also a thing that people tend to. I don't know how it's still a thing, but you see it in comments and people online of going like, "What you see? They're not putting in the key details. Why won't they tell us the key details?" You're like, "Do you mean the things they're not allowed to report on?"
Yes,
that you're like they'll always go. You'll forever. I'm forever seeing men in their mid-50s who've just learned how a front-facing camera is, and they're sat down giving statistics, and then they're reading they'll read an article from the journal.
Yeah.
And they're like, why aren't they telling me what the man's name was? Why can't I see where he lives?
Yeah.
What's his address? Where does he work? See, they'll never give you...
They don't give you the pertinent information.
If it was an Irishman, we'd all know who he is. Yeah, because there's a lad from the town been like, do you hear John just got caught?
Yeah.
Fucking... You're like, it's... Of course you're not going to give people's names and nationalities and workplaces and addresses.
But also a lot of times they do put that information out there. But even... This is a separate thing now, but I don't know if you saw that case, which is a bit mad, but there's a fella walking around Inchicore with a gun the other day. And the Inchicore community groups that I follow, there's one Inchicore group I follow, which is very nice. The whole community sort of values Inchicore thing, nice photos of back in the day in Inchicore. And there's another one I follow that's very racist. And that one was immediately, like, some story went up as the news was breaking that there was a guy with a gun. And the story typed up from somebody was like, they were saying it was a 6'5" black man, and he pulled out the gun and he pointed at my chest and he was going to shoot me, and he had evil in his eyes and he was intent on murder. A very detailed description of it, and that went around. And the news article came out and it was like, it was a Chinese man. So like immediately you're like, well, what? Who wrote that and why?
Would it be possible for someone to be so racist that they don't see color?
Maybe. Even while they have a gun pointed at them, they're
like, no, it's all the same. They're all the same.
And but it's just such a bizarre... Like, it's from an anonymous account. It's going straight into this group. And it's very detailed description of coming face to face with, again, like a tall African black man. Immediately, the first bit of real information that comes out from the case is like, it's a Chinese man.
Yeah.
Like, what is... I suppose... The connected thing is it's extremely easy to lie about race and stuff. And I'm not,
And it stokes the flame. Like,
it's but this was right after what had happened, like within days of what happened in Belfast. So is someone just hopping on and being like, oh, before the details of the thing go on, just tell someone it was a black man and let that go. I don't know. You just write up a lie and put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's like the level of that we're at. Should we see with the Irish rugby player that was racially abused during this year's Six Nations?
Yeah.
That like there's... Is it astroturfing? Is that the term that we use?
Yeah.
But like that there's going to be X amount of pure right-wing lunatics.
Well, speaking about X and the amount of right-wing lunatics, so another aspect of this is, as well as Tommy Robinson, Elon Musk weighed in and was stoking the flames of what had happened in Belfast initially. And he's championed Tommy Robinson a few times. For some reason, he's there, like...
Any country that has a guy like that, Musk is behind.
Yes.
Keeping it real.
Musk, who's also, I can't remember, was this... Well, he's, definitely an immigrant. I remember those claims he was an illegal immigrant because, whatever, he hadn't filled out a visa initially. But, like, and what is his grandfather moved from Canada to apartheid South Africa because he thought Canada's values were getting a little too loose. So, But, you can... I was going to say, do your own research. You can do your own research on Elon Musk. Do your own research is a very funny term associated with the far right, considering it, like, from none of them do any fucking research on any of this stuff, and they are constantly wrong about things and just run with that. But you can look up Musk. There's no shortage of stuff about Musk and what he's up to. But like, he's also recently, and again, another layer of irony and perfect timing or whatever, he's become the world's first trillionaire at the same time that I assume it's his team, or it's not him actually making these tweets. Maybe.
I honestly think it might be him.
I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say. I'd like to believe. Is that
his Diablo scores?
Yeah.
That's somebody else.
The man is
tweets, that's 100% Elon.
The man has such a pathetic life like you always see photos of him, and people have pointed this out again before, but whatever. But he's just sitting in like an office chair at a desk, and like, what are you doing? You're now the richest person who's ever existed since humanity began, and you're either you or the people you've chosen to represent you on the platform that you bought to make it more racist, it seems, are just stoking flames to get people to riot in a country you've no intention of going to. What are you at?
You can't put sense on the internet.
It does. It makes no. But that's just another element of it, and then.
But all of this stuff, because with Musk and America, anyone commenting on it from say like the UK or America, they'll use this of any nation across the world of like when something like this happens, because what it is no one in the States is actually going to read any reports of what's gone on.
No,
they'll just see that quick video, and then instantly Musk. And then it'll be straight away to like Minneapolis or Atlanta or like fucking St. Louis. They'll pick some state that you're like, something's happening over here.
Sure.
And it's just the whole world is going to shit. But no one will read into. This is the same again. I don't want to keep bringing it up, but like say the McGregor trial. And how everyone in American media was like, it was a civil case, so it probably didn't even happen. You're like, it's very easy to sit in America when you own the platform of X or Twitter and just be like, I'm just gonna stoke all of these flames and then constantly bring it back to see this happened in Ireland. Of course I didn't fuck up Doge.
Yes,
of course this isn't.
Well, in terms of like return on investment or whatever, it is to like Musk has gotten himself into a stage and bought obviously spent an awful lot of money on Twitter, fucked that up. But now he's got a situation where
I don't think he fucked it up.
Yeah, well, now he's orchestrated.
He got exactly what he wanted to do with this,
where he can just type a couple of words now and a city across the world burns. There's a knock-on effect to these things. And not to take all of the agency out of the lads who did the burning, they have some part to blame in this, but it is very interesting seeing the network of I don't know, I was reading that Wired article. They did a good article about the Active Club and Ulster Youth Club and this kind of network of white nationalists and white supremacists who just, you can see definitely there's less footage. We tried to soften the 2023 Dublin riots, I remember, but we looked at some of the like ridiculous things that happened, the ice cream man and stuff like that,
because I'd not seen any of the
there's
funny
nothing
stuff
from this, because this time it's much more, there's much more of an organization behind it where they were explicitly like no phones. And from the few videos that have come out,
were they looting? I haven't even looked into that. Did they?
Well,
that changed the whole narrative of the Dublin riots, because straight away it turned into that. So it became, obviously, whenever you talk about narratives like and the truth of everything that happened, the fact that there was a load of videos and they were nothing to do with, it was just the looting.
Yeah,
that like those the guy in the McDonald's having the ice cream, the high pitched squeal he lets off, and he just can't believe that it's still actually going to work. Like he gets the ice cream, very funny. Has nothing to do with the protests. Has nothing to do with the attack.
That's just an opportunity. Yeah.
Whereas this, it doesn't sound like then that there's like thousands of lads coming down to just run riot.
This is somehow
they are a different type of riot.
But this is I get, because there's kind of an orchestrated outlet for the in the Dublin one, people are just breaking into Foot Locker to steal shoes and whatever. But there's a much more like, here are the addresses we're going to, here's the business we're breaking into, here's how to dress, here's how to act, and no phone. So the few videos, there's still a good
level
few
of
videos.
Organisation is very scary. Because even during I remember when the Dublin riots happened, when it came out that there was like a handful of WhatsApp groups that you're like, someone on the day of had created. And they were like, you go down to the bottom of O'Connell Street, right? You go up to, like, they picked like the 4 or 5 spots all around the city.
Yeah.
And they had that locked off. You're like, fuck, I didn't realize they had that level of organization. And this is a whole step above that. Then.
It is, yeah. So even, there are still, obviously videos of it, because, but even in the videos that are going around, you can hear people, no one's face is in it, and you can hear people behind the camera being like, don't be like giving out to the people who are recording, and then being like, I'm pointing it this way, pointing it this way. So there's much more organization, like, don't just have your phone out fucking recording your mate jumping on top of a burning car, because that's how people got arrested last time.
Yeah.
So that's a new element to these riots, which are, you could probably put good money on this is going to happen again. Yeah, because I don't know. Like, they seems to be getting more organized online, and all it's going to take is another attack from someone else, and this will kick off again.
It'll be, I mean, I don't want to start taking bets on the over-under.
Yes.
I will say this. There was a man I mentioned on this podcast a couple of years ago because I was like, I've been watching some of his videos. It wasn't so bad. And then after a few months, we were like, oh, what episode did I mention that in? Can I go, can I go back and get rid of that? I won't. He's actually gone now, so you can't find him. But Dan's mixtapes.
Okay.
Because he's changed his name, haven't found it.
Yeah.
But there's another fella, and I don't want to give him his name. I don't want to give out his name. Sure. But also, I do kind of want to tell people because it's very funny content. And I say funny in terms of he didn't start a channel and then slowly over time become more right wing.
Yeah.
He started by like, I think his first video was like the jihadist attack in Galway city centre.
Yeah.
And that's like a year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it is. So he got a chunk of followers from that. About like 20,000, and he's been really beating the door down for the last like 2 years to try and get to court that far right following.
Yeah.
Can't get it off the ground. He like genuinely, and his content, like he's a professional videographer.
Yeah.
So it looks amazing. It's edited actually pretty badly. But
it looks good.
But it looks unbelievable. And he's getting on all of these. I don't want to keep using the word far right. I should have more terms for these people.
But there is a like podcast network, which is in Ireland. Like,
but he's getting those lads on. And like, he had your man Michael. Whatever this is. Whatever that guy's name.
I haven't seen Michael McCarthy. Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen his response to this because he blocked us on all those platforms. So I haven't seen his thing.
Because he's a little scaredy cat.
He's
for the hardest man in the world.
Yeah.
I'll tell it how it is. It was like there's two boys on the internet saying that I'm wrong.
Literally anyone who calls him out on anything, he just blocks and then shares.
And then turns around and goes snowflakes.
Yeah. Oh, he's a fucking.
But
a funny. Well, again, another element of this is like the podcast. One of the podcast networks, anyway, is called The Silent Majority or something like that. It definitely doesn't make any sense to have a pretty sizable network of people talking where the name implies that you're
silent,
like, gagged by. Like it's a fucking. But whatever, they're all. There's a whole network of these fucking lunatics who just go on each other's podcasts and talk about bollock and then try and sell you supplements for your tractors or whatever. Like
pretty much, But I'd never thought that the right wing grift would have happened in Ireland, but that is.
It's just just trying to sell you supplements. Or I think I was saying just to outside of the podcast the other day, but there's one of those fucking lunatics from Donegal. I think it's Niall McConnell. He's always at the marches and stuff in Dublin, and he put up a clip of Zach Moradi, the Leitrim man, born in Iraq, plays GAA for Leitrim, and
hurler, isn't he?
Yeah,
even more strange.
Even more, the Leitrim hurler. So he's born in Iraq, comes over, and your man McConnell put up a video of him. I think talking in Croke Park, so maybe it was during that Eid thing in Croke Park. But McConnell's clipped up the video, and Zach is talking about integration. He's like, I've considered myself an Irish citizen. Someday I could see myself living in a Muslim society. I'm happy to live in Ireland. And then it cuts to McConnell. He's like, see, there you go. The veil slips. He wants to turn Ireland into a Muslim country. And then it pivots straight away into him trying to sell his own Donegal knockoff GAA jersey with the 1916 proclamation written on the back of it. And in the man's profile picture, he's wearing a GAA jersey, which means that Zach, I don't know, when people talk about integration, I think people can be awful harsh and like what constitutes integration. But regardless of what your feelings on it, playing GAA for your local team, Zach's married to a Leitrim woman. He's playing GAA, representing the county. Like that's more than you could really expect anyone to do. McConnell's cosplaying as a GAA player. He doesn't look like he's ever played GAA himself. He's pretending to be this thing that your man is doing.
Yeah,
and it's just an insane level of grift. And to sell a fucking 1916 GAA jersey while criticizing someone who's playing GAA.
I know I shouldn't have bought that.
You shouldn't have bought four of them. Yeah. But anyway, I feel
because I've been actually getting through more and more of the I meant to say that about the Unbroken Man. That he was doing his video from Spain. Where he'd gone on. And he does reference that in it where he's like, I know sure I'm not, but I'm out here. He says like, it's gotten so bad at home I can see myself just up and moving over here. And he's like, I do see now how that's a parallel to what I'm just giving out about.
But and that's another one of the ironies where like at some you're like, I'll point out the hypocrisy in their racism, and it'll all like a house of cards fall down. It's pointless. Like all of them had lived in Canada, lived in Australia, lived in New Zealand, whatever the fuck. They spent time abroad for economic reasons, be an economic migrant. But none of that matters because if black man commits a crime, it's time to burn the city then. That's, I think, the final note.
That's what they were going for anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's they can forgive all of their own crimes, all of the people that they follow, anything they've ever done doesn't matter. Everything, again, these particular fucking loyalists.
But isn't that's the whole saying? Forgive and forget.
Forgive and forget.
Forgive if your fella's done something atrocious. Forgive that. Forget it ever happened.
Yeah.
Move on.
And you see it a lot from the Dublin anti-immigration groups who are celebrating what's happening in the north, and they're like, they're loyalist brothers in arms. And over the years, the last couple of years, they've been caught out going up to loyalist marches, and like these are the people who, if you're worried about a wave of people who are going to come in and change your way of life and discriminate Irish Catholics like you and change the country that you grew up in, it already happened.
Yeah.
And it was these people and their ancestors did it. And you're
standing beside them in solidarity.
Yeah, you're standing beside them in solidarity against the fucking whatever. But anyway, there's no point pointing out any of these things, because even the racist Telegram groups that I follow, none of them, they're all Irish Telegram groups that I started following after the Dublin riots. They're barely even talking about what's happening in Ireland. It's like, as much as I disagree with it, it's like, this is what they should be like talking about and focusing on. They're all just talking about fucking anti-vax, Benjamin Netanyahu, what's happening in Trump's.
More interesting. I always see them sharing videos of things that have happened in America.
Yes.
And then going, Ireland's gone to the dogs, and you're like, this is clearly in like Chicago. I can see that bull in the background. You're like,
it's the Red Bull of cooling.
Yeah, but you just constantly, it's just in your feed. It's always like, with anyone, just do a little bit of verification.
Do your own research to use a fucking like term.
What was the one the other week, or was it a few months ago now, when they were like, Tommy Robinson himself, he put out a video saying the army are being brought in for the tractor protests.
Yes.
And there was that video going around of like 10 lads on a tank driving around in full army gear. I reached out to one of the lads I know in the army. It was like, what's the crack with this?
Yes.
He was like, they're on their way back from a training exercise.
Yeah.
And not like a Russia-Ukraine kind of one. Yeah. Like a legitimate, they were literally just out in their training facility. How easy that would be to be able to just, I'm going to walk down to the training facility, get a video of
them driving in and out.
And just go,
I'll save this.
Hey, Tommy, got one for you.
Which you're even, Peter McGann, it caused a bit of controversy during that when he like had a video of him just running down the street with like, he just put in gunshot sounds and a fake helicopter sound. And like, if you like even a fucking iota of research, by which I mean clicking into his account and realizing the whole thing's a fucking, like, he's a comedian, everything's a parody thing. The amount of comments underneath it, they were like, is this real? What's happening? It's not on RTE. Mainstream media hiding this again. Gunshots on O'Connell Street. It's like, it's so, people are so...
Oh, just say it.
They're so bad at the internet.
No, they're thick as shit. This is
what they're so willing to believe.
Years
stuff
ago,
as soon as any fucking thing pops up, they'll believe it with their heart and go. And
that's always been the way. It's not just the internet.
I know.
That's like newspapers had done it like years ago. I know that last year at some point I was back home and my dad's friend showed me a video on his phone, and it was this 90-year-old tiny like Mr. Miyagi style Japanese kung fu fighting man who was fighting this 7-foot-tall, 700-pound sumo wrestler. And the wrestler came at him, and the small, tiny Asian man used the giant sumo to run up him, like a Shadow Colossus style, like all the way to the top, and then kick him in the head and knock him out. And underneath it said, generated by AI. And he showed me that video, and he's like, wait for it, look at this. Knocked out. Now, would you say that's real?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how to break. I don't want the glass shatter moment of being like, well, do you see this thing that takes up a quarter of the screen saying generated by AI?
This would be
He wouldn't know what AI is. He wouldn't know what the word generated. Like, you're so far. I told you about the fella who was in the pub a couple of months ago saying that was down with the da. And most of my stories now just come from having pints with my da. But there was an old man in the village.
Your finger on the pulse of this country.
It's a weak pulse.
Yeah.
But there was an old fella there, and I'd mentioned it was like, I should do a bit of history. He's like, oh, I get my history from a fella. And he gave me a name. So I looked him up then. Went to the bathroom. He was like, nope, can't find him. He's not on the internet. I was like, where is he? Maybe he's a lecturer. Maybe he's just a friend of. How do you, I went, where do you find this fella? He was like, oh, no, I get him on WhatsApp.
He just texts me information.
He texts me information that is the truth.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, just the things you find online these days. Just by opening up
Yeah. But this,
but that's what you're dealing with. Where you're going like, that man now, he's been duped by
well, this is the same
a
as
text thread.
I'm sure someone else has made this parallel before, but the like, you know, the old story about the pictures, the talkies, and the train coming at the screen, and people, you know, fainting in their seats and running out of the place.
Yeah.
That's what's happening to us now.
This is like cat TV, but for people.
When you put on a video of a bird on your TV screen, your cat goes nuts. That's what's happening to our brains now.
Yeah.
And now I realize that for all of our centrist listeners, there is, whenever I try and talk about this stuff online, I always kind of focus on, the mob reaction, the riots, the seemingly growing or getting more sophisticated network of far-right nationalists and white supremacists that seem to be pushing these things for whatever reason. You don't really focus on the original crime and stuff about immigration and border security and stuff like that. I'm not equipped to... Arguably, I'm not equipped to talk about any of this stuff, which is fair, but like...
It's impossible to have that conversation now when it's all... when it's all happening. I will say this, like because when I all the first couple of videos that popped up, and I saw some girl in Belfast, and she was getting destroyed because she was instantly saying, maybe she was even like, haven't even seen the video yet, but saying, oh, you're all just assuming it's going to be an immigrant. You're like, well, it does, part of that is, and you can imagine there's people down at the riots being like, look, see what she's saying, saying we're wrong, we're
everyone's
lying.
trying to hide it, and you can't even point out that he's from Africa without people calling you racist. Right, there's definitely, it's a delicate subject, but there's conversations to be had. But again, when your immediate reaction is burn down random houses because you think that there are people who aren't white living there, like that is extreme far right racism. I've gotten ramped up and gone on a tangent again. Yeah, but the when a crime like that is committed, it's a horrible thing.
Yeah, everyone's angry. That's the weird thing, but it's like that the anger into a lot of people go. Well, you straight away go, I wish we had a place where we could have these conversations, or isn't it so bad that we can't, and what could we possibly do? It doesn't go to anger of like, let's go burn someone's house. Yeah. Like that's not going to... But it's also weird, because you're right with what you're saying of like the riot, the Dublin one happened, this happens, we kind of focus on, this isn't the way to do it. This is like, obviously there's been two atrocities that have happened. The first, the crime, and then the reaction to it.
Well, the Dublin one's a bit different, but say the riots hadn't happened in each case, we wouldn't have done episodes about it, for sure.
No,
But if the riots made the Dublin one, like that's different, because it was such a horrible... if the riots hadn't happened in Belfast, I wouldn't have given any thought to like. There's a horrible video to watch, horrible attack. But I guess the point being, when people talk about like, oh, this isn't the way the country used to be, and this isn't how I grew up, and the type of crime has changed. I think a lot about what they're talking about, nostalgia on one hand, but you're seeing stuff that you would have never seen before because it's being recorded and pushed to your phone, and everyone's talking about it.
This is the same as like when people talk about Instagram, and you're like, we've never before, cheating's huge on the rise, because people are like, they've never before seen what other people look like. There's your people from your village, your town, and that's kind of it. And then everyone's like, what does this bikini model in Canada look like?
Yeah. Well, history is full of women who were so attractive that countries went to war over, and now you can see 100 of them by touching your phone at 4 a.m. That's a whole other aspect of maybe tied into what fucking the internet's doing to our mind.
But just every single time you'll see a crime committed or there's always a video of something, and then it's used.
If a fella puts up like 4 instances of black people committing crimes across the world and just does that every day, it's
10 times a day.
Yeah, it creates a pattern that doesn't exist.
And I don't want to say, because here's even another thing that you'll see, like terms will be used so much of like people will say, oh, sure, that lad, he lives in his mother's basement. Yeah. And you're like, well, a lot of people in Ireland
don't
have basements.
We don't have basements.
So that's an American term.
Yes.
But it's always like, it's people on the internet who don't have jobs, and you're like, it's not real. And even if it is, that's again not a problem living with your parents and all of that. You're like, but I do want to say that Michael McCarthy does live with his parents, because we found that out from someone who knows it to be fact, and he records all of those videos from his parents' spare room. No, I'm not recording my racist videos from my bedroom.
Yeah.
I'm doing it from my parents' spare bedroom.
No, I haven't got a partner. I was too busy. I've got fully committed to my work, stirring up racist hatred and blocking people who disagree with me on the internet. But yeah, there's another rambling episode of talking about a very delicate topic without saying anything really. And yeah, I suppose just for people who maybe saw this from abroad in particular, or people living in Ireland who didn't really want to follow the details of the minutiae or whatever. The stuff that didn't come out, I suppose, was a counter protest in Belfast over the weekend that you can never really trust numbers that newspapers report as attendance for any counter protest or protest or whatever. No matter what number goes up, the opposite side will disagree or argue about it. But you can see photos of it, huge turnout. And obviously that news probably won't make it as far as the initial race riot stuff. But it is an issue.
I've seen enough videos of people coming out being like, no, we've had this before. This is the opposite of what we want.
And again,
there's a lot of community drive of people getting together, like from both sides,
including the guy's family. You know, they are coming out pretty much straight away and saying like, they're not doing this in my name, which I'm pretty sure is the same thing that happened in the Dublin riots. But it's because it's nothing to do with protecting women and children or protecting community values or any of that sort of stuff.
I guarantee you it'll already have come out that there'll be men who have already been arrested.
Yeah.
Now, after doing this, who will have cases from assaulting their domestic partner, women in general. There will be like that. I'll put money on that
for sure. And there's statistics of the amount of people who get caught up in these protests who have assault and battery charges against their partner.
But they're here to protect the women.
Yeah, one case in particular of I think because the guy was sentenced just during last week where he'd stabbed his pregnant girlfriend, and not a tap was said about that at the time. Her brother came out and had a
Jesus, this is in the north last week.
In the north, no, it happened like 2 years ago.
But it was in the news.
The court said he'd just been charged or given a sentence last week, and the brother came out and made a statement about like, you didn't care about this when it happened to us.
This is grand. Jeffrey Donaldson.
And again, Jeffrey Donaldson literally in courts for he was doing that to his own relatives. Not to say it's like a much bigger issue or something. It was like that's a systemic issue that you could be focusing on or should be outraging as opposed to this other thing you've chosen to spend your time on, showing up. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Crimes are bad. If they're committed by immigrants, are they worse? I don't know, but you shouldn't burn down half the fucking city.
Don't be burning things.
Don't be burning things down.
The only thing you need to light up.
Yeah.
Touch grass, smoke it.
Yeah.
Skin up and have a joint. Next time you're thinking about burning down the house of
Lads
someone who's
who
a different
joints love starting fights.
I know.
This is another tangent now, but no more of this peace,
brother.
Yeah.
You want to pass the peace pipe?
Every lad who's tried to start a fight with me in Dublin also smokes
joints.
Like
but
everyone,
then there's also a load of lads who don't.
Yeah,
and they're like, nah.
I think that the association with smoking joints and being peaceful and chilled out is completely bollocks and made up. Like, there's more about this story will come out as over the next couple of days. But the motivation for the attack, I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, is not like jihadi terrorist attack, as people were definitely implying at the start of this. It seems like they lived in the same block and knew each other. Now, this is getting into, that hasn't been confirmed yet, and how
that they lived in the same block, or like that. They,
I've read a lot of stuff online that implies
he's done something to him in the past.
No. But they like that they knew each other,
because that'd be a whole other.
And people are pushing that narrative and the narrative that he has convictions or something. I think that's kind of irrelevant. There's also a story that he was
again gonna give it another week. I'll read about it then.
Yeah,
it's
there is a story coming out that when he lived in Scotland, he was assaulted by his housemate who was, and the newspapers used the term
Rangers
UVF,
fan.
No, UVF leader, gang leader. But the guy was like 21, and I don't know exactly what that entails. But he set Stephen Ogilvy on fire and horrific assault on him. But that story has been circulating around. It seems like muddied the water, or maybe like in no way am I implying that Ogilvy brought this on himself, or this is a good thing that happened to him or whatever. But it definitely, I guess I'm pushing back against the early narrative I saw that it was like a random terrorist attack. I don't know. I just try to give as much information about it as possible, but while also skirting around stuff that I've just read online that isn't verified.
Yeah.
But anyway, more stuff will come out about it in the next couple of weeks. But again, the key point they hit again, regardless of the fine details of the attack, you don't fucking burn immigrants' houses down.
Yeah, or anyone's houses down.
Well, if you burn Jeffrey Dahm's house down, I'd be like, that, probably.
Okay.
Fair enough. Okay. But, yeah, well, there you go.
Did it take us a whole hour to come to...
Has it been an hour? No.
It has been an hour.
That's...
So it's taken us roughly an hour. It'll come down to about half an hour, and we'll say race riots, bad.
Yes.
Pogroms,
bad.
Given it some time to let the facts of the case shake out, probably a good thing.
Yeah, as with all of these, there's more, well, whatever. But, pogroms is another, that was a term that definitely popped up around this, the echoing, I think in 1920. Did we do an episode about that, or did we talk? We definitely talked about it, like 1920, 21 Belfast pogroms, but again, this sort of thing has happened before.
But the term is now like everywhere.
Yes.
That people have literally it's the situationship of race riots.
Yeah.
Everyone's using the word pogrom.
It's definitely descended into every comment under everything to do with this is there's the pogrom side and there's the beheading side, where it's just like, it's trying to call back the other times when loyalist communities would have done this to Catholics, which is another funny angle, I suppose, when this is being reported on in Western media, well, in the US and the UK, they're constantly referring this as to like Irish people are doing this, Irish people are doing this, Irish people are doing this, and the loyalist communities where a lot of these things are happening wouldn't be very happy with that distinction, being called Irish or getting the a clap emoji with the big Irish flag behind it. In about a month's time, they're going to be burning a whole lot of tricolours on bonfires, as is the tradition every July, and there'll be maybe a lot less solidarity. But have you got any other final thoughts on it?
No, because I'll say this.
Yeah,
I miss Kieran Cuddihy.
Yeah,
that's my big takeaway from this.
That's a big takeaway.
Stop burning things.
Yes,
and Virgin News Media need to pull up their boots by their sock straps. Yeah, you get someone in there that's watchable and entertaining.
Yeah,
I don't care if they're good at their job. Cuddihy is. I'll give him that now.
Yeah.
I can see why RT went for him. The Indo will be after him next.
Yes, but all right, we'll be back next week with more regular episodes. Good luck.
Shafter.